Hello, everybody. I'm here today with an individual, a good friend of mine, and an individual who's got quite a story to tell about his chiropractic experience. So we have Rich with us today, and Rich has got a background in helping communities. I'll leave it at that. And Rich had some issues, some significant issues with pulmonary function, and found that the only functional change he saw of any significance was through his chiropractor. So, Rich, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you, buddy. And you go ahead and take it from there. You give us a little background and some thoughts about your past life and your experience that you had with your local chiropractor.
Well, I became a firefighter in the late '70s, and the firehouse I went to hadn't had a new guy in a long time, and they tortured me. But they also taught me that real men don't wear masks. If you want to find victims, you can use your mask to breathe a little bit, but you had to discard it at times to be able to see in a fire, to be able to navigate. And I did that for years, and by 1988, had developed serious lung problems, and I went to the doctor on the job, and he sent me to a hospital for a test to determine my lung capacity, which was failing greatly. Then I was on a lot of medications, and I had been in a few emergency rooms for breathing treatments and whatnot. So he sent me to this hospital, and the test they were giving you was called the methylcolon challenge test. And it's a test that involves breathing into a computer, seeing what your lung capacity is, and then they administer saline to coat your lungs, and then they administer this drug in increasing portions to see how your lung capacity diminishes over the test. And I failed on the saline. They gave me the saline just to coat my lungs, and I shut down right there. And when I went back to see the doctor, he looked at the results and he said, "Congratulations, you're the worst failure we've ever had."
Wow.
He says, "I have to retire you. I have to put you out of the job." And I was devastated.
How old were you at that time, Rich? How old were you?
So this is 1988. I was born in '57.
Wow.
31 years old. So I went to the hospital. Like I said, I took the test and I failed on the saline. I went back and so I convinced him to put me back. I convinced him the job was my life and to put me back. And if I had any more lung issues, that I would bring them to the forefront, which wasn't true because I didn't want to get put off the job. So I had all my medications that I would normally use, the inhalers, the steroids, everything in my turnout coat, just so I could medicate when I needed to, on the job. And I went for another like 10 years. And then Labor Day of '97, we had a bad job and I took a lot of smoke. And my routine was I'd go back to the firehouse, get a shower going with steam, and start opening things up and start taking my medication and open everything up. But when we got back to the firehouse that day after that job, they torched the place next door right away. So I didn't have a chance to get in the shower and do my routine. Yeah. So I was back on the rig and we were in a building adjacent and took a lot of smoke, like always. And I had a big burn on my neck, a big bubble from something that dropped from the ceiling down back of my collar. It was really nothing. It looked like something, but it was really nothing. It was just a big bubble. So I was grateful for it because I could go sick with the burn and not have to say anything about my lungs because I knew that was a place I couldn't go anymore. And I went out and I showed them the burn. They told me, you're relieved, go home. I went home and I got in bed with my wife. It was late. It was like 2, 3 in the morning. And all of a sudden, I just shut down. I couldn't breathe. I was suffocating. I couldn't get a breath in for anything. And my wife just threw me in the car. The hospital wasn't far. And she drove like crazy. And I was basically laying on the floor on the front passenger side trying to get some air into my lungs, and I couldn't. And when we got to the hospital, I was just about done. I was suffocating. I was just about done. And right away they shot me up with epinephrine and opened me up and relieved the symptoms, thank God. So, doctor came in and he said, I knew I was going to see you again. And that was it. They started and they retired me. When I retired, I moved down to the Jersey Shore with my family. And the local chiropractor, Dr. Mike Warner, was very popular amongst the people, my neighbors and everything. So I went to see Mike, and he told me if I come for regular adjustments, come 2-3 times a week, come regular. He says, I might be surprised at how I gain my pulmonary function back. So I did. I went and I went 2-3 times a week, sometimes four, and got constant adjustments. And over the next two years, I would say, I just stopped using the medication. The need for it stopped, and I was able to get my pulmonary function back almost all the way from where it had been. It was like a miracle.
Beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
and I'm still good today, thank God.
Rich, the thing that people don't understand is how that can happen. I mean, a lot of people think of chiropractors for back pain, right? But if you look at the inception of the profession, it didn't start because of back pain. The first chiropractic adjustment ever given was because the individual was going deaf and his hearing was restored. We have to look at the big picture here. Yeah, could you have been all locked up in that thoracic area and you couldn't expand your lungs and all that kind of stuff from a structural standpoint? Sure. But was there more to this than just that? Was it that all those nerves that run to your internal organs were compromised as well because of that? And by freeing all that up and allowing your body to quote unquote heal itself, that's what happened. Now that's how I conceptualize that, and you experienced it, you felt it, so that's bigger.
Very much so. Yeah, yeah. I was amazed. I was literally amazed. I when he told me he thought he could restore my pulmonary function, I kind of took it, with a grain of salt. Maybe
Sure.
I'll get off one of these medications or two of them, but I'm off everything. I'm off everything, and I think of chiropractic as wellness. Just say
Exactly.
wellness in my life.
And Rich, that's really what it's all about. Okay, it's not about back pain, neck pain. Yeah, sure, we're great with that. It gives you relief. But it's about creating a healthier environment in your body to create longevity. You're going to live, my opinion, you're going to live a lot longer as a result of what you've done. And you're going to be able to function during that lifespan much better than you would have before. And, look, we can all agree pharmaceuticals saved your life. You had the epinephrine shot into you when you could not breathe. That's what emergency medicine's all about, and they are great at it. But to think that you were going to take all those meds for the rest of your life, every medication that you take, anyone takes, there's going to be a secondary effect to it. I don't care what it is. It's going to have some kind of other effect on your body. And so, while they are necessary at times, we have to look at the most conservative thing that you can do first and then move into those other things if they're necessary. We don't jump right into surgery if somebody can be fixed in another way, more conservatively. And the same thing applies here with your case. You were given these meds, and that's the standard operating procedure, right? And you were taking them, and it was keeping you going. But by doing something alternatively, something that is maybe not mainstream or conventional in at least thinking of it in that way, you really turned your life around.
100%.
So, Rich, I mean, you are a testament for chiropractic. You should be like on a statue somewhere in some chiropractic college. You know what I mean? Because these are the stories, and I have tons of them in my own practice over the last 40 years. These are the stories that help people understand that you can get better. Your body can heal itself, but it has to have the proper circumstances, you know? And if it doesn't, it's not going to get better. So you have to open up to some of these options, and people need to think in a different way. We're seeing that right now with what's going on with RFK, with the Health and Human Services, and a lot of things that are changing there. The CDC, you know, we've always put our confidence into these organizations, you know, federal entities. And then over COVID, you know, we started questioning some of it. And I think that's opened a lot of people's eyes to things like what you have experienced, Rich. So, you know, I really think I commend you, number one, for being willing to come and speak about it, because a lot of people don't want to platform themselves in any way when they go through something like this, especially what you went through with, you know, the fire department, et cetera. You know, it's amazing that you had the results to some folks. To me, it's not, because I've seen these type of things before. But your case in particular is really cool, because you were done at 31. They were going to put you out to pasture, and you pushed it, and were able to function the way it sounds quite well for a number of years. But then you just got to that break point, and that was it. You know, that's when they cut
true.
you. Yeah,
That's true.
But with what you were able to do, your life is going to be enjoyable down at the shore now, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to be able to breathe.
Absolutely, brother. It's always nice to breathe.
It's always
Almost as nice as being able to eat. You know what I mean?
yeah. I'll take breathing first.
Yeah, I think most people would.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to tell folks, Rich?
No, that's my story. I just wanted to get it out there because chiropractic has really, really restored my life. That's what it's done. It's restored the quality of my life, and I just wanted to go on record with that.
Well, you're a testament for the profession. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on board with us here to do this little podcast. And to those of you out there who are suffering, I don't care what it is, you know, adding chiropractic into the equation is always a good idea, regardless of what the condition is. And like Rich said, he went to someone who he was referred to, essentially, someone who had a good standing in the community, somebody who was there for the right reasons. And Rich, one other thing I have to say about what you did, you stuck with the program. You didn't waver. You know, you did what you needed to when this doctor said to you, I need to see you 3 times a week or 4 times a week or twice a week. And you did that for an extended period, which allowed your body to heal. Now, the thing that many people don't understand, because of our medical concept, is give me something to make it go away, right? Like you know, when they did the epinephrine thing, when you went into the hospital. But, you know, it doesn't always work that way when your body is healing. Your body takes time to heal. It takes time to degrade, and it takes time to come back from that degradation. So you have to give it the time. And Rich, I commend you because you did. You know, a lot of people would fall off and say, it's not getting well fast enough. I'm not going to do this. But you stuck with it. And that's an important, critical component of a treatment plan like what you were put on. It wasn't, you know, a couple days. It wasn't a couple weeks. This was a couple years to get you to where you needed to be.
Yeah, with the prospect of what I was looking at, the way I was living, it was when somebody offered me a chance at a solution, I jumped at it.
Yeah.
And
well, quite frankly, it gave you hope.
Yes.
You know, and you know, this is something I always say in the medical profession. You know, especially with cancer patients, I've had so many times where they take hope away from them. They give them a death knell. You know, you got a couple years, you got a couple months. You know, 6 months, 8 months, get your affairs in order. You never take hope away from someone, you know, especially with a condition where their body can heal. And you know, we see oftentimes when you do that, there are changes, there are physiological changes, there are chemical changes in your body because you're all negative now about your life and where you're going. So there's a lot of research relative to that. If you keep a positive attitude, it's a lot better for you physiologically. So, you know, that's an important point, really, that you make here, Rich, is that, you know, you had hope, and I think that helped you.
Yeah, I was just really grateful for it.
Well, I'm grateful for you, my friend, and I thank you for sharing your story with us today.
No
And
problem.
listen, everybody out there, Rich has got an amazing story. I want you to share it. You know, like if you enjoyed Rich's program today with us, share the program, like us on whatever you're watching. And we're on Facebook, YouTube, every single channel out there. So wherever you're watching, share it around. Thanks again. You guys take care. Have a great day.